Every year, millions of fans turn out to see the greatest names in college football. As excitement builds for this season, attention again focuses on the handful of young athletes who will be this year's All-Americans and will provide another thrilling autumn of college football in 1982.
College Football 82, the Playboy All-America team is brought to you by Budweiser Light.
Discover the clean, distinctive taste of a light beer worthy of the king of beers.
Budweiser Light.
For the past 25 years, announcement of the Playboy Preseason All-American team has been a prelude to the college football season. The man responsible for selecting the players from the past quarter century is Anson Mount, sports editor of Playboy magazine.
Every year for the last 25 years, we have picked an All-America football team, and we've brought them together at one central location, not only to take their picture for the upcoming September issue, but to show them a good time and do a little bit of celebrating. Since this is our 25th anniversary, we thought we'd do something kind of special, so we decided to bring them to Texas and show them a Texas good time.
This year, the team met in Dallas for a weekend of fun. Two team members were welcomed by Cowboy star Randy White, a 1974 Playboy All-America.
How you doing? Hey, Randy. How you doing? Don, nice to see you. Don, Randy White. Bruce, nice to meet you. How you guys making out? Good. How was your flight? All right.
As you can imagine, just getting 24 football players together from all over the country was an accomplishment in itself.
I'll tell you what, sorry, I don't know if you guys are going to sit in here or not.
During their weekend, the players sampled the best of Dallas. From glittering hotels to a day on a Texas ranch, it was an experience they will long remember. It doesn't seem long ago, but in 1971, when I was a running back at Cornell, I was named to the Playboy team. So I was excited about meeting this year's All-Americas and also about renewing my friendship with Anson Mount, the man who picked me as an All-America.
I was thrilled when you asked me to come and join you this weekend because I haven't had much contact with college sports since I left college, and I'm really looking forward to meeting all these players and seeing what they're all about now, 10 years later.
Have you looked at some of these players here this weekend and thought, gee, that was me 11 years ago, or have any of them reminded you of yourself and your reactions then?
I was better looking than most of those guys.
Okay.
Otherwise, they...
And maybe a better actor.
No. Well, they're all going through the same thing that I went through, reaping all the fruits of their labors over the last few years, and weekends like this make it all worthwhile.
The first player I met was Tennessee wide receiver and return specialist Willie Gault. One of the fastest players in the Southeastern Conference, Gault is nearly impossible to catch in the open field. He is also captain of the Tennessee track team, one of those rare athletes who can combine excellence in two sports.
In the past, a lot of trackmen have gone into professional football. Recently, Ronaldo Nehemiah signed a contract with the 49ers. But a lot of them never played football since high school. You have a real advantage. I mean, that has to be a world-class sprinter who's done the things that you've done as a wide receiver and a return specialist. They're all going to be looking for you, I'm sure.
Yeah, like you say, it's all a unique situation. I think the Lord's really blessed me with a gifted talent. I've always been like a step faster than the other guys in my class. So I guess it will give me a little extra added, I say, edge by playing football for 4 years in college and knowing what to expect, knowing how not to get intimidated by defensive backs, and knowing how to catch the ball and cross the middle. So it is a little advantage.
You're a world-class sprinter, and because of the Olympic boycott, you weren't able to compete in the Olympics, the last Olympics. I mean, how do you feel about that? Do you feel disappointed? Or?
Well, I sort of have mixed emotions about it. I'm sort of disappointed, and then I sort of respect the president's decision. But I don't think it was really nothing accomplished by us not going. I think we would accomplish much more by going and participating and winning the gold medals that we didn't get a chance to win.
Willie Gault may never get another chance to win an Olympic gold medal, but he's already won the hearts of football fans all over the Southeast. Because Willie is such a perceptive young man, I asked him, "What's your favorite TV show?"
You gotta say the right thing, Willie.
Okay. My favorite TV show is da-da-da. It's not yours. Okay. I'm just kidding.
At Michigan, he's simply known as AC, Anthony Carter. This elusive wide receiver scores a touchdown once every 4 times he touches the ball. He's been a star since his freshman year, yet Anthony remains a thoughtful young man who was overwhelmed the first time he took the home field for the Wolverines.
Coming through that tunnel, you know, I was just like chills going up and down, you know, my spine and everything. And I never, you know, had the experience of playing in front of that many people. And once I got in the game, you know, I wanted to do something for myself and for the team and everything. And I think that what really helped me.
Today, Carter draws double coverage nearly everywhere he goes. But if an opponent is foolish enough to play him one-on-one, the results are inevitable. If Michigan is to be number 1 in the Big Ten, it'll be due to the efforts of their number 1, Anthony Carter. The All-America receivers for 1982 are Anthony Carter of Michigan and Tennessee's Willie Gault. The forward pass has now become the most lethal weapon in college football. Many teams are shifting from the ball control offenses so popular in the 70s to wide open air attacks that make them a threat to score from anywhere on the field. Of course, a passing game is only as good as the man who throws the ball. Mount's choice for quarterback, Pitt's Dan Marino, is both a gifted passer and a fine field general. At 6'4", 215 pounds, Marino is a consummate college quarterback. In 1981, he passed for more than 2,800 yards and threw 37 touchdown passes. Last season, he led the Panthers to 11 victories, including a Sugar Bowl win over Georgia and a number 2 national ranking.
What do you think your strengths are as a quarterback? What do you think that makes you such an outstanding quarterback? And you are.
Well, thank you. I think that what I try to do as a quarterback is to be aware of the situation on the field and what has to be accomplished by our team to be successful, to win. And I think that's the main objective of a quarterback. There's a lot of aspects that go into that situation. As far as I go, I think I throw the ball pretty well, and we have a very sophisticated throwing offense for college football, and we execute it very well.
Marino should be a leading candidate for the Heisman Trophy, an award that no quarterback has won since 1971, when a guy named Pat Sullivan beat out yours truly.
It's an honor for me to even be a candidate for the Heisman Trophy, and I hope I'm in a situation where I can win it this year. And I think my biggest asset to win the Heisman Trophy is probably the people I have around me. I think that it's a kind of award that'll bring a lot of prestige to the university and the city of Pittsburgh, and I'll be very honored to win the trophy.
Dan Marino, Playboy's All-America quarterback. Next, Dan Marino visits Dallas Cowboy quarterback Danny White, and Anson Mount talks with the Coach of the Year. Our All-Americans packed a lot of activity into one short weekend. Dan Marino even had the opportunity to visit the Dallas Cowboy training facility, where he met All-Pro quarterback Danny White.
I'm going to have a chance maybe to play in the NFL someday, and I'd like to know probably what is the biggest difference from the college game. I know you played at Arizona State, and the professional game.
Well, there are a lot of differences, Dan. I think really the main difference is the mental pressure that you're under and the amount of study and preparation that goes into each game and each season. You know, in college, you got basically the same defensive looks and the same kind of things week after week. And there are a lot of guys that come into the NFL that are great passers. We've had them. We get them every year here in Dallas, and they don't make it. And the reason really that they don't make it is they don't have the ability to learn and continually learn. I mean, even after you've been in the league for 12, 15 years, there's always something to learn. That's going to be the real test for you. I'm sure that you know that you've got good study habits, and it's already obvious that you've got what it takes physically. The big change for you, I'm sure, is going to come in the preparation, the mental part of the game.
When you visit Dallas and you're looking for a day of fun and sunshine, there's no place like Six Flags over Texas. For the All-Americans, it was a chance to stretch their legs, and they checked out just about every ride in the park. Of course, the Six Flags double-loop roller coaster seemed to be the players' favorite. I'm just glad I didn't have to ride it. At the end of the ride, some players looked very happy to have their feet back on solid ground. After the roller coaster, some of the team wanted to cool off, so a few of them found a way to get wet. In the meantime, some of the big guys were getting a little exercise. Jimbo Covert of Pittsburgh and Wisconsin's Tim Crumry worked out with the heavy hammers. For Covert, a 6'5", 275-pound offensive tackle, hard work is nothing new. In addition to practicing all week and then protecting Dan Marino on Saturday, Jimbo still finds the time for a very demanding major, English literature. He talked to Anson Mount about it.
Jimbo, is there any particular area in English literature that you specialize in or that you're particularly interested in?
American literature. That's what I really enjoy. I've had some classes in English like Shakespeare and Sophocles and some things like that, Greek literature. But I think American literature is a thing that I really enjoy most. I enjoyed Hemingway, Twain, and Melville, authors like that.
Spend an awful lot of time with an open book, reading volumes and volumes of literature.
Oh yeah, when you like, I've taken novel courses where you have to read a novel a week. Plus, you have a short story class where you have to read 4 or 5 short stories a week, and that's a lot of reading.
And then you have to practice.
Yeah, especially when you come back from classes and then go to practice. You don't come back from training table until 7:30. It's hard to really study, but I enjoy it, and I feel I can complete a lot of reading in a night. Plus my other classes.
What do you do with all your spare time?
Read, go to class, and just try to do the best I can.
Academic All-America Don Mosbar of Southern California is another heavy hitter on the offensive line. Mosbar, along with All-America teammate Bruce Matthews, opened the doors for Heisman Trophy winner Marcus Allen's record-setting season. Matthews, who has played every position on the USC offensive line, is one of the most devastating blockers in college football. Another All-American lineman who has blocked for a famous teammate is Joe Lukens, an honors student at Ohio State. Lukens' blocking skills enabled Arch Schleister to pass his way into the Buckeye record book. To visit Six Flags wouldn't be complete without a stop at the Guess Your Weight booth. And who better to test the guesser than Outland Trophy winner, center Dave Remington of Nebraska. Dave almost broke the scale, weighing in at 291. But this guy's not only big, he's an academic All-America and the only center to ever win the Big 8 Offensive Player of the Year award. But he's not resting on his laurels. He spends hours in the weight room the year round to improve his strength and stamina.
You were voted by your teammates as a lifter of the year. What does that mean?
Well, every spring they try to determine who's worked the hardest in the weight room for his improvement in your athletic skills and things. So they just voted me last year, and I was real pleased with that.
You know, I used to lift weights when I played, and I felt it really helped me because it's something that you can always improve is your strength. I mean, that has to be a real asset for you, being as strong as you are.
Well, I find it, for me, strength is a lot easier for me to improve than my speed. Weighing 295 is hard to increase that speed, so I'm trying to increase my strength right now.
Yeah, well, that's... For a center, you got to do a lot of that down blocking and...
I haven't run 40 yards yet in football, so...
I'm sure that the Nebraska offensive backs are glad to do all the running, so long as Dave provides the blocking. The Playboy All-America offensive linemen are Dave Remington of Nebraska, Joe Lukens from Ohio State, Bruce Matthews and teammate Don Mosbar of Southern California, and Pittsburgh's Jimbo Covert. In the 1982 Rose Bowl, the Pac-10 champion Washington Huskies trounced Iowa of the Big Ten. The man behind the success of this team from the Pacific Northwest is Playboy's Coach of the Year, Don James. Like most coaches, James paid his dues as an assistant before getting his first head coaching job.
Most people in life, you know, you want to start out in an organization, you want to work your way to the top, and I think most assistant coaches, you know, you coach a few years, you get some confidence, some experience, and you say, hey, I can coach as well as Don James or Bo Schembech or Woody Hayes, and you want that opportunity. Then you hope you're lucky enough to get an opportunity. Mike Lude gave me a chance at Kent State, and I had 4 decent years there, and had an opportunity to go to the University of Washington, and we've worked hard. We've had a lot of help, and it's fun in my profession to be competitive, obviously.
Don James has done more than just be competitive. Since he arrived in Seattle 7 years ago, the Huskies have enjoyed 6 winning seasons, 3 conference championships, and a Rose Bowl victory. Sharing in Don's achievements is his wife, Carol, whom he has known since high school. She's deeply involved in her husband's work and is a big asset to the Washington football program.
I get to know every one of the players, and I think it's really important. I look at it as if it was my child, I wouldn't want my child going away and not having anybody know him more than just a number on his back.
Of course, yes.
And so I really try to get to know the boys, and they're really an extension of our own family. I grow to love each and every one of them.
Even as a boy, Don James knew he wanted to be a college football coach. Today, he's one of the most successful and highly respected leaders in his profession. Don James, Coach of the Year. Another big factor in the recent success of the University of Washington football team has been the performance of this young man, place kicker Chuck Nelson. In addition to being an academic All-America, Chuck is also a scratch golfer and the number 2 man on the university's golf team. So I thought since we were both in Dallas, I could get a few free pointers on my game.
I'm pretty impressed.
See, it's that wind up there.
Look at the wind, just throw that ball to the right. Keep your hands low when you take it back and hit it with your hand.
Chuck began hitting golf balls and kicking footballs in grade school. Over the years, he discovered a lot of similarities between place kicking and golf.
Physically, there's a lot of similarities, just because they both involve, like the golf ball here could represent a football. They're both stationary objects, and a golf club is primarily the same as you got your leg and your foot hanging on the end of it. When you get involved with the combination of the two and hitting them, you've got swing planes and timing and snap. You got to get your hips through when you kick, and you got to get your hips through when you hit a golf ball. So there's a lot of physical similarities there. But the thing that I've learned most that's carried over from when I grew up playing golf is the concentration part. You play golf, you're out there for 4.5 hours, and you're only hitting 70-some shots.
Well, you might.
Or 80-some shots, 90-some shots. But, and the kicking, you're only going to get 5 or 6 plays a game, and you have to concentrate for 3.5, 4 hours from the time you go out to warm up until the game's over. From the golf, you learn to keep your concentration in between shots, and it carries over to kicking.
Washington's Chuck Nelson, the All-America place kicker. In the next half hour, 25 years of Playboy All-America teams. A look at college football's defensive standouts, and an in-depth profile of the greatest running back in the game, Herschel Walker. September will mark the 25th anniversary of the Playboy All-America team. Over the years, players Don Meredith, Dick Butkus, O.J. Simpson, Tony Dorsett, and Earl Campbell stand out as a few of Anson Mount's great selections. Often, though, Mount has been the first to give national recognition to previously unheralded players. He enjoys retelling the story about a player who didn't believe he was good enough to be an All-American.
When I made my decision, I called the sports information director at the school and said, hey, I've decided to pick your tackle on my All-America team. He was delighted. He went to the coach. The coach was delighted. He called in the kid and he said, congratulations, you've made the Playboy All-America team. This is the best thing that ever happened to you. The player didn't say much. He thanked him and was a very quiet kid and left. And the next day he came back to the coach's office and he says, Coach, he says, I've been thinking about this. Now, I don't want to be embarrassed. And I don't want to embarrass you, and I don't want to embarrass the school, but I think there's a mistake. Would you call that man up in Chicago and ask him if he hasn't got me mixed up with some other defensive tackle named Joe Green?
That's a good one.
And Joe came up that weekend, and he didn't say, we all had a good time, as we do every weekend, and he didn't say 3 words the whole weekend, because he never did really believe that he belonged there.
You've had to make a lot of tough selections between people, as with Joe Green. Any other ones that stick out in your mind, really tough decisions?
Yeah, the toughest decision I ever had to make in my life was the year that both Archie Manning and Jim Plunkett were seniors, and I had to choose one of them. How do you make a choice like that?
Who did you choose?
Well, I went back and did some more research, and what I found out from talking to a lot of people, coaches and pro scouts and whatever, was that Jim Plunkett was the player who was most likely to make it big in the pros. He's the best pro prospect. But Archie Manning was the best college quarterback. And I don't pick an all-pro prospect team. I pick an all-American college team. So I picked Archie Manning. And I'm glad I did.
There were also some tough choices to be made in picking this year's All-America defensive unit. The rushers, the hitters, and the pass stealers of the college game today are intimidators on search and destroy missions. At 6'3", Wisconsin nose guard Tim Crumry is not big for a defensive lineman. But his quickness and strength enable him to overpower the best blocking in the Big Ten. Alabama defensive end Mike Pitts was named All-SEC after last season. But that wasn't as important to him as the fact that he was on the team that made Bear Bryant college football's winningest coach.
I'd say it was a big thing between everyone involved with Coach Bryant. Like the state, it showed a great attitude and it was behind us all the way for the record. And we just, since the fans supported us, we felt as though it was something that we could give to them and also to Coach Bryant as a team.
Although Mike led the Crimson Tide with 21 sacks last season, he's not the kind of player who thrives on individual statistics.
I'm a guy that's all for team effort, and what I do, I want it to be towards team success and not just my personal success.
But if Mike has a good year, you can be sure Alabama will too. Another great SEC defensive lineman is Georgia's Jimmy Payne. In fact, the Bulldogs love to inflict pain on their opponents. An excellent pass rusher, Jimmy can also stop a running back from turning the corner. Just the presence of Payne is enough to give the opposition headaches on game day. Many say the best defensive lineman in the country plays for the Arkansas Razorbacks and Coach Lou Holtz. His name is Billy Ray Smith.
I owe a lot to the guys that I play around. You know, I have a quality. There's 10 other guys on our defense that, you know, play a great role in our success. And if I am, you know, in the top of the defensive ends, you know, it's because of the people that have helped me along the way.
Some of that help had to come from his dad, a former All-Pro tackle with the Baltimore Colts. Growing up around football has given Billy Ray a perspective on the game that very few players his age can appreciate.
I think one of the great things about football is that it can open up so many doors to, you know, an individual, whether he finishes out in college or goes on and is able to play pro ball. So right now my major is banking and finance. I think my father is in the investment field now, and I think that would be a challenging occupation for me to undertake later on.
But for now, you can expect to find Billy Ray Smith spending most of his time in opponents' backfields. Playboy's All-America defensive linemen are Tim Crumry of Wisconsin, Alabama's Mike Pitts, Georgia's Jimmy Payne, and Billy Ray Smith of Arkansas. Next, the All-Americans check out life on the ranch. We'll also take a look at the top linebackers in the country. Are they cowboys or are they football players? Only their coaches would know for sure. For some of the guys, this was their first time on a ranch. Or couldn't you tell? Now they're getting the hang of it. You can tell Billy Ray Smith is a native Texan by the way he rides. This was a day for fun and relaxation, and fishing, if you're Anthony Carter. Dan Marino says, "Hi, Mom." These guys pitching horseshoes look pretty good, and with this toss, Jimmy Payne put us all to shame. All in a day's fun with the Playboy All-America team as they spend an afternoon in the Texas sunshine.
Where do I start? I start right here?
Mark Stewart, a linebacker from the University of Washington, discovered skeet shooting wasn't easy.
Pull!
The towel Mark Stewart wears on his uniform symbolizes his love for his mother, who died in 1979. It's his way of saying thanks to a mom who did everything she could for her children. Last January, Mark realized a childhood dream when the Huskies won the Rose Bowl.
I guess it's the ultimate. When you're little, you know, you look at the Rose Bowl and you never really imagine being in there, being able to play in the Rose Bowl, and I've gone there twice now, so it's something that I think I'll always be able to talk about and be proud of.
You gonna give somebody else a chance to go? Or?
I hope not this next year. You know.
One more year, right?
Yeah, hopefully.
One more year.
Hopefully.
Stewart, an academic All-American, is big, strong, and has the speed to cover backs on pass routes. He's the kind of linebacker pro scouts dream about. Down at Arizona State, things get pretty hot when the Sun Devils suit up. They even get hotter when All-America linebacker Vernon Maxwell checks into the game. A one-man wrecking crew, he makes opponents think twice about running plays in his direction.
Are you sure some pieces in there?
Completing the trio of Pac-10 linebackers on this year's team is Arizona's Ricky Hunley. A native of Petersburg, Virginia, he chose to play football a long way from home.
It really wasn't that far, you know. When I get depressed and down, I just tell myself Petersburg is just right over those hills, you know, those mountains. You know.
Well, the weather's a little different.
Yeah, a lot different, you know. When I left home, we had like 3 feet of snow, and it was cold. And I got off the plane, and I had to take off my big jacket, and, you know, and stay there for a couple hours, and he had a really nice time. And I said to myself, this is where I want to be. And so I called home and had the mother cancel trips and told us going to Arizona.
When Ricky's on the field, opposing quarterbacks quickly get the message, don't go to Arizona for your health. Playboy's All-America linebackers are Arizona's Ricky Hunley, Vernon Maxwell of Arizona State, and Mark Stewart of Washington. Defensive backs are the spoilers, the stickers, the interceptors. The most visible of all defenders, they often fight a one-on-one battle where the slightest miscalculation can mean defeat. North Carolina State's All-American defensive back, Eric Williams, is a hard hitter whose size, speed, and leaping ability enabled him to lead the Wolfpack in interceptions last year. Oregon's Steve Brown, another back with a nose for the football, makes up for his lack of size with uncanny instincts. His speed and ability to read the quarterback usually puts him in the right place at the right time. Terry Kennard was an integral part of the Clemson defense that took the Tigers all the way to the 1981 National Championship. He was second on the team in tackles last season. Terry is the first All-American defensive back in Clemson history. Mike Richardson of Arizona State joins the Playboy team for the second year in a row. At 6 foot, 190 pounds, he's strong, fast, and likes to make interceptions. Mike is also known as a player who can read and react to a play as quick as anyone in the country. The 1982 defensive backs are Mike Richardson of Arizona State, Clemson's Terry Kennard, North Carolina State's Eric Williams, and Steve Brown of Oregon. When the defense holds, the opposition must call on its punter, and the best punter in college football today is Vanderbilt's Jim Arnold.
Must be exciting for you being picked as a Playboy All-American, the punter.
It was very exciting. I didn't think that I'd really get picked. Then I found out that I did, and I couldn't do anything right for 2 days. so excited.
Jim averages more than 44 yards per kick, and his towering punts are seldom returned. He would like to be more of a team leader, but believes it's a difficult role for a punter.
In the situation of a punter, you can't be that big of a leader with your words because, people look at you and that they're going through two-a-days and they're banging their heads and they're just kicking the ball, enjoying things. And they just look at you and say, what have you done?
Yeah, until you got back into the end zone and you popped one about 50, 60 yards out of the end zone, then they love you.
Yeah, they like you a little bit better then.
Jim Arnold of Vanderbilt, All-America punter. Coming up, a look at the nation's top running backs. Throughout the history of college football, the running back remains the most exciting and electrifying athlete on the field. With his speed and power, he can bring tens of thousands of spectators to their feet as he runs over and around defenders in his quest for the goal line. If All-America running back Kelvin Bryant of North Carolina stays healthy in 1982, the Tar Heels could be one of the top teams in the country.
I would think that the fact that the North Carolina basketball team won the national championship this year would be some kind of inspiration to the North Carolina football team. Is it? Are you guys Not trying to aim for matching it and bringing both championships home to North Carolina, one after the other?
Yeah, I think we're going to be a pretty good team. We still got some young guys on our team, but, you know, they coming around. They had a pretty good spring, and I think we'll have a pretty strong team.
Bryant runs equally well inside or outside. He's also the kind of pass receiver who leaves linebackers talking to themselves. When he gets in the open field, all the defense can do is sing the Carolina Blues. Stanley Wilson grew up in Carson, California, and by all rights should have been a Southern Cal tailback. Instead, he chose to attend Oklahoma, and Coach Barry Switzer's glad he did. In 1981, Stanley became only the 9th back in Sooner history to rush for more than 1,000 yards in a season. This fall, he moves from fullback to tailback, which will give him the opportunity to gain even more yardage. The 24 best football players in the country, assembled in one location for one weekend. This dream team will take the field only one time, only once, for a group photo for the September Playboy. There's one player that we have not yet introduced. He's an extraordinary football player and a fascinating individual. He's Georgia running back Herschel Walker.
A lot of people always ask me what kind of runner am I, and I tell them I'm a surprising runner. I never let you know what I'm going to do. I let you decide what you want to do. If you want to tackle me, it's your problem. If you don't, that's not for me, because I don't want to get hit neither.
Walker stands alone as the premier running back in college football today. After his sophomore season, he seriously considered challenging the NFL's policy against the drafting of underclassmen. But instead, he decided to return to Georgia for his junior year. Anson Mount talked to Herschel at length and asked him to explain his decision not to enter the pro draft.
I try to make the decision that I think is best, and I think it's best for people to mature before they can step into something different in life. A lot of people think they're ready to play, just like a lot of people think they're ready for college ball, but you're not. Going into the NFL is an even bigger step, and that's a step where you lose out if you don't make it, and then your life is totally gone then. And like I say, people have to be mature. They have to be ready to do something. You just can't do it because someone else did it.
Did you realize when you were in high school, you were recruited by so many schools all over the country who tried so hard to get you? Did you realize your potential as a college and pro runner?
Not really. Like when I went into the University of Georgia, I went there and they tried to play my best, and then I just wanted to make the traveling squad, and then the first game I got a chance to play, and I thought it was an opportunity of a lifetime. That was something you could go out and do, and maybe something you could hold and cherish, and I wanted to go out and perform it to the best.
And you certainly made the best of that opportunity.
I made the best of it. Like I said, a lot of things I do surprise me. I really don't know I could do them.
What are your plans? Do you have any ideas or hopes for when you get through with football 10 years or 15 years from now?
Well, I'm working on a degree in law, and that's going to be a kind of difficult degree, but then I think when I'm through with football, I'd like to go into the Secret Service or maybe the FBI. That'll be something I think I can cherish for a long time, because football is a small portion of my life. I enjoy the game, but then I do many other things because I have the ability to do them. And God has blessed me with the ability to do many things, and I try not to just stick with one thing, but do a variety of things.
Herschel Walker is an incredibly gifted and complex young man. An All-American football, a world-class sprinter, a quiet man, a strong man, a poet. Herschel writes, "I wish they could see the real person in me. Someday I reckon they will know I'm not only here for the show." The All-American running backs for 1982 are Stanley Wilson of Oklahoma, North Carolina's Kelvin Bryant, and Herschel Walker of Georgia.
They're red. They're red. Hey, Willie, now don't pick on the red.
By the time we were ready to take the team photos, the All-Americans had gotten to know each other pretty well.
You got to tell them about red. Where's Wisconsin? I can say something about red. Where's Wisconsin?
The camaraderie that had built throughout their stay in Dallas was very evident.
All y'all got on red. Like you're from Florida. All y'all got on red. Y'all copied off each other. Look.
Your color look just like your team.
We're going to swing you around this way. Get your feet out this way. That's good. We'll get the coach in the middle. Yeah, just knock your back a little bit.
But eventually, the photographers began to position the players for the group photos.
Oh, you got to get back a little bit, guys. About 6 inches. Yeah. Okay, all the same direction. Okay.
Sorry, my fault.
Squeeze in. Let him in. Turn sideways. I don't want you straight on. Sideways. Yeah, put your shoulder pad in front of him. Yeah, like that. There you go.
Put on the old layered effect.
That's good. Beautiful. Okay, now tighten it up, guys. Tighten it.
What? What? No,
That's good, guys. That's nice. Beautiful. That's it. Perfect. Perfect. I got you. Good. Right to me, guys. Everybody. Beautiful. Once again. Fantastic.
That's it for the Playboy All-America football weekend. The players have had a wonderful time. They've enjoyed all the fun and excitement that Dallas has to offer. And they're on their way home now. I want to thank Ed Marinaro for helping me to host this weekend. And like you, we're looking forward to a really exciting 1982 football season.
College Football 82, the Playboy All-America team has been brought to you by Budweiser Light. The light beer with a clean, distinctive taste worthy of the king of beers.